So you did the editing of it, but did you actually go and were you part of the process before and the filming?
Yes, absolutely. I was part of the film crew in Berlin, which were just 3 people. And it was very interesting and it was very hard. It was one of the most emotional and exhausting shootings. Yeah, well, I knew what the idea was. I knew how we wanted to edit it. But of course, we didn't know if we get the right pictures.
How did the experience move you and change the way you felt about the homeless in Berlin in particular?
Well, of course, I was just in one city and I just saw this little part of the movie. But I knew that we were filming at the same time in 5 other countries. So I had just a little tiny picture of the whole film. And in the editing, a few weeks later, when we got all the material from all over the world, it changed, obviously, my experience also with the homeless people I met in Berlin, because it made absolutely clear that everyone else in the other cities had also very emotional and very exhausting experience with their protagonists. I actually began to know all of our protagonists with the material. So it was a long process to watch it because I haven't been part in the shooting. I didn't know what we had. So I had to watch all the material from everyone. And there I noticed how hard the day was for everyone else and how similar the day was in a way for everyone else.
You did the editing, but were you part of the process before on the shooting?
Yes, I was there from the first moment where the idea came up, and also with the process of finding the right people to have Skype conversation and conference calls to brief everyone what we need. We had a few ideas of pictures we really wanted, and we wanted a few pictures the same kind of, but also it was completely clear that every filmmaker has their own handwriting, and we wanted that. So it was very interesting to meet all these different people all over the world, and they were completely different in their character and also in their films and in their styles. So we wanted that, we liked that, but also, of course, because of the editing we had in our mind, we needed some similarities in some pictures because of the topic. Are they similar to each other or are they different?
And then you actually went on the shooting as well on the day?
Yes, of course. I went on the shooting in Berlin, and it was very emotional. It was very hard. We had snow in Berlin. It was very cold. It was wet. And we had to find the right protagonist. We couldn't do it before. We just started searching 2 days before New Year's Eve, really. So we had to look for them. We had to talk to them. We had to convince them to trust us. So that was really difficult, and it was strange because normally you do the opposite. You go in the other direction, kind of. If you're passing homeless people who have obviously their house on the street with all their bags and their dogs and so on, so you don't want to be confronted with them. I mean, it's hard, and it's hard to be really honest to yourself, because everyone wants to be a nice person, wants to speak to them and give them something, and talk to them like you would talk to somebody on the checkout or something. But you don't. You do it maybe if you have a good day, or you extremely in a good mood, or you're in the mood to talk. But normally you want to avoid these situations because they reflect on you. They're homeless. They don't have all the luxury you have, and it makes you feel guilty, and it makes you feel ashamed a little bit. So we had to go to them and had to talk to them, and had to tell them that we wanted the opposite with our filming. We wanted to watch them and wanted to know what they're doing on New Year's Eve.
And your professional sense of getting what you needed for the art form compared to your empathy with their position, you've explained that a little bit, but did you decide to follow through with your professionalism and let that take over? How did that sit with itself on the day?
Yeah, it is absolutely, it is a conflict. And I have to say, when I'm filming, most of the time I'm professional. I think about the film, about the pictures we need. I see myself sitting in the editing, so I know we need this now, we need that now. And you do your thing. You are really like a little machine. You know what you need and what you want. But there are moments and there are pauses where you just realizing what's happening around you and how real the pictures are. You see it through the camera. You see it as a finished film in your head. But these people live that every day. So there were moments where you absolutely felt even more guilty just watching them and making a film out of them. It was good, really good to notice that they didn't feel abused and that they didn't feel watched in a negative way. That I had the feeling they were happy that somebody was interested in them, and they wanted to tell their story. So that helped a little bit, because it wasn't that difficult to find homeless people who want to talk about their story. They didn't care if it would get into cinemas or onto television. That was not the point. I had the feeling the point was there are people who want to know. Okay, I tell you, because I think they are judged every day, all the time, by everyone, and they don't get the chance to say, I don't want this here. I don't want to be like that, and there is a different version of me. I would like to tell you why I'm here, and don't look at me like that.
And then, of course, you knew that these other films, these other stories were going on in parallel. So when you got to the editing room, what did that feel like to have these different stories from these other people coming in?
Yeah, it was exciting. I mean, I remember that we got the first call of our cameraman in Sydney, who said, okay, New Year is there. It's 12 o'clock here right now, so my shooting day is over. And we were far away from there. We had a lot of hours to go. So then it was feeling like domino stones, you know. Then we got the call from Bangkok and so on. So it was exciting that we were in a chain of it felt like a kind of like a wave, or I don't know, a big team, a worldwide team, which then fall into place. So that was great and exciting, but it was everything was theoretically, because I haven't seen the picture, I haven't met the protagonist. We didn't know anything at all if our experiment would have worked. We knew our material is good, we had what we needed, but we didn't know anything about the material of the others. So after a few weeks, the material came in, the hard drives came in, And we were really excited to look at it, and it was great. It was absolutely, all of a sudden you realized that it really happened. That that the people shot their pieces and they found somebody, and with the material you got to know these other protagonists. So all of a sudden it became a film, and of course I met the other homeless people, and it gave me absolutely the feeling that the other film teams had a similar experience that we had. It was also for them very emotional. Some had really strong bondings with their protagonists, and they also had a strange feeling of leaving them just after one day, because we go in the editing and they go to the next day of surviving. So for me, obviously, the material out of other countries is always more interesting than in our country, because I know Berlin, I know the climate and everything, but I don't know Cape Town or Sao Paulo or New York or Sydney. So it was just interesting to see a normal day in these countries. Of course, it is not a normal life, but it is a kind of a normal day. It's not a traveling reportage where you just focus on the beautiful spots or so. No, it was just a normal day. And this material, of course, is so interesting because I can hear the different sounds in the material and the different colors. And although they all had the same camera really and the same equipment, it looked completely different. And it's interesting just to watch somebody through a day in Sao Paulo or Bangkok. What was your question?
Did you build a personal bond with some of the protagonists, and tell me a little bit why?
Yeah, I absolutely have the feeling that I know these people. I never met them. I didn't even talk to them. I just talked to the film team. But I have a absolutely bond to them, I have to say, because when you watch the material over and over again, and you see these little details which you normally don't notice, but I had to look for the little details because these are the things which connect them all. And when I watch Shirley in Sao Paulo and I watch Cecile in Cape Town, and I all of a sudden see they're doing the same thing. Little movements, little human moves or activities, and I know, okay, that is important for the editing because they have a similar rhythm, although they are so completely different. And of course, the raw material shows so much more of them, and also the interviews were so much longer, and they were so interesting to hear why the people are there and why they in these situations. And it feels a little bit peculiar because I guess I will never meet them ever in my life, and they will never meet me, but I have the feeling that, or I'm honored that I was part of their lives in a way, just one day, but that I was able to get all these intimate pictures and interviews from them. I feel really like that is a precious thing they gave me, although we never met, but I want to, I don't want to disappoint them. I want to give them somehow something back. And
so you paralleled different moments where they were doing similar things in different environments. Why was that interesting to you? What was the importance of that?
Because I saw myself. I saw what I was doing every morning. I mean, I get up, I go in the bathroom, I pack my stuff, I get dressed and so on. And this is what Cecile in Cape Town is doing as well. I mean, he told us that he has his ritual in the morning. He's hiding his stuff. He has just a tiny little bag of belongings, but he's hiding them that nobody's stealing from him in the night. And in the morning he gets up and he has a little wash with some water, and he has a pee, and then he gets his belongings, and he gets ready for the day, kind of. That is the same thing we are doing. And it wasn't so different from the people in Berlin. They washed their stuff and they got something to eat, and it's absolutely human. And although they were so different characters, they had completely different stories, and they were in completely different countries. They were all humans, and that was so lovely to see, because there was nothing I had to force. It happened, it fall into place. When I saw what they were doing, then I saw all the similarities, which had little differences here and there, but they were so naturally combinable. It was easy to combine them, and you felt immediately where the cut has to come to go to the next scene, because they were telling you they were showing you where they give over to the next person.
So it was about, to some degree, giving the viewer an ability to identify with these people that usually you don't identify with.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, the pace of the film is very quiet, it's very slow. I think you need a little bit to get into the rhythm and into the observing. It's not an action movie, and we didn't want to put too much information in. We had the feeling the interesting part is just watching them. And I think when you are in the state of mind to just lean back and see what these people are doing, I think you get a connection with them and with yourself. Of course, it was one of the main lessons or points, or I mean, you think it quite often, but here you feel it. They are not different from you. They are not different from anybody. And it can happen to anybody. Our people, they had bad starts into their life. They had illnesses, they had bad luck. Of course, they also made mistakes. We all make mistakes. So that was the point, but I didn't have to force it. It just happened. When you see the material, you see just human people, nice people.
It's always difficult with such a film. But what is there in it for the audience? Is there any joy? Is there beauty in the film?
I think so. I think the audience is going to a journey. I mean, the swapping between the countries. For me, it's so interesting, and it gives you a complete different perspective. Nobody can be on 6 continents at the same time, but in our film you can. You are. Just for one day, for a day where you normally celebrate with your friends and making wishes for the future and giving up smoking or having party, drink and so on, you get a new perspective, a journey, and it's not just sad, and it's not just dark or depressing. It is beautiful. These people are beautiful, and it's beauty because it's quite simple. But also you see wonderful landscapes, and you are in these cities I don't know. I haven't been in these cities, and especially not at the same day. And sometimes it's dirty and it's ugly, but it's interesting because it gives you a taste of a different life, and not the touristic corners. No, you get the real Sao Paulo and New York, and we absolutely try to focus on the sound, on the birds. You hear different animals, you hear different street noises, and also the chatting of people passing by in the different languages. Every country has their own soundtrack, and also their own colors. It looks so completely different. The sun looks different in New York, and it looks different in Cape Town, and that is fantastic. It's interesting.
Is there hope for these people? Is there hope in the film, or is it just that we have a hope to make a difference with the film?
Well, people say that art can't change society, but in my opinion, art is the only way to change society. I don't know if we make a big difference with this film, but it certainly changed me a little bit. If I pass a homeless person, even if I don't have any money or anything to give, I at least acknowledge the person, say hi or have a nice day. It changed me a little bit, and I hope there will be people who watch this film and maybe change a little bit. And I think this can get bigger. I think we need to keep on showing into the dark corners of our society. We need to pull them into the light, and I think it can make a difference in society, very slowly, very subtle. But that's not the point. The point is to do it, to make films not always so rich and beautiful.
Isn't there a danger that we, in the same way that we walk past the homeless person, that the same people just look past this film?
Yes, I think when we wanted or when we were in the procedure to raise money for the film, it wasn't open doors. I think a lot of people feel exactly that. When they read what this film is about, they feel a little bit uncomfortable and think, oh yeah, I know they're there, but I don't need to know this or need to see that all the time. It's like with Holocaust films. You think, oh yeah, I know it, but please don't bother me with that. So it wasn't easy to raise money with this film, and it will be not easy to show this film. But this is our goal. We want to show it as much as possible. Yeah, I know people like to be distracted from reality. They like to be entertained. This is entertaining in a different way. But I hope, and I see it still, there are a lot of people fighting against poverty and fighting against the big gap between rich and poor. And they feel, and this is where I am, they feel that you have to stand up for them. Because one day, maybe you are in this situation and you need people who have the strength and have a full belly and a warm bed to stand up for your rights, because they can't anymore. They are so down, they can't speak up for themselves. So this is what we have to do. I think it's our duty, and it's what keeps the society reminded that there are still problems.
Yes.